Today we're here at CES 2024. We got Jen, myself. We're gonna do a tour. As you can see, it's pretty wild. You're good, just keep on going.
Just keep on coming through.
We're gonna show you guys all the cool TV companies, LG, TCL, Samsung, Hisense, Sony, all of it and more. So we're gonna do a walkthrough, so follow us along and let's check it out.
Let's go.
So I think one of the first things I want to show you, obviously one of the coolest things here, is the transparent OLED T. Now we got to see this in the suite with LG earlier, but obviously this is way cooler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 different displays up there, all that look like about their 77 inch. So 15 77 inch OLED. They're transparent, they're wireless, so they have to have the boxes down there transmitting up there, which it looks like it's doing without any issue, as well as being completely transparent. You can see the people right through there. How wild is that? And all of them have the ability to roll up from behind, so you can get the contrast when you're watching a movie, but yet have this incredible visual effect when the transparency is there. So that is a really cool thing to start it out with. But
wireless.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Let's roll through here, Jen, and see if we can see some more stuff from LG.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And now we're gonna check out the WebOS demonstration here, which looks pretty wild. It's like all around us, Jen.
Wow, that is pretty wild is the best word.
I was gonna say, you see this kind of stuff all the time, don't you, Jen?
Oh yeah. This is in our hallway at home.
It should be.
One day maybe. You turned it off.
Turn what off?
You touched it and it went black.
I don't think it's touchscreen.
I don't think so. Could you imagine?
I don't. The visual of that was pretty awesome.
Look, Brand, there's the backside of the transparent OLED.
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. Normally, the backside of the TV doesn't look like the front side in reverse.
Yeah.
In this instant, them being transparent does. Good call, Jen.
Oh, yeah.
See, these are the things that I wouldn't get if Jen wasn't here, right?
Yeah.
And that's why you're here. High five.
Oh my God, are you being
Oh
the
my
installer?
gosh.
Ah, what is wrong with
It's
you?
Disco Dad.
This guy. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on?
How
How's
you
it
doing?
going?
I'm good, you?
Techno Dad, here we go. We're on a video right now. We're walking through.
Oh.
Yeah.
And this is actually where we saw Brian Whisper Status last year. So good to see you here.
Yeah, great to see
You were getting the tour this way. We're going that way.
Yeah.
And look, what do you have in your hand? Look at that. Wow, you have your
I got
spatial CD disc.
Imagine that. Go to spatialcd.com and there's a 15% off code CES15. Use it.
Check that out. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Awesome to see you, bud.
Good to see you
All
guys.
right.
Yeah, good to see you.
Cool.
So it's nice to see Techno Dad. I'm sure we're going to see more celebrities
Yeah.
like him out here. But the rest of the TVs, the LG G4, the C4, the M4, we actually got to see those when we were up in the suite with LG earlier. But there's some cool upgrades this year. All of them look like they're going to be brighter to a degree. We're going to have the second generation of the MLA technology on the G4 and the M4. And so it's going to be even brighter, be able to boost that brightness even more. So very cool things. Form factor wise, they looked pretty similar. And I think the only difference that we really noticed was that on the M4, they actually are going to have a sound bar that's compatible with the wireless box. So instead of having the eARC port in a different area and then being like, well, how do I hook up my sound bar now? Now it's going to be able to sync at least back with LG sound bars that can be placed under it. So then you'll have the ability to connect everything properly. And then on the G4, the other thing that was really cool is that we're actually going to have a pedestal stand available with the 55 and 65 inch models. So, for those people that want that G4, the top one with the MLA and all the brightness, you don't have to wall mount, you can actually put it on the stand. So I think that's a big benefit. And both the G4 and the M4 will have an 83-inch size with MLA this year. So I think that's something that everyone's excited about because everyone was like, why would I get the 77-inch when there's an 83, but that doesn't have MLA? This year, no problems with that. They're all gonna have that brightness boost max or whatever it's called, so that's really cool. Now the C4 is not gonna have the MLA like it didn't last year, so it's a bit of a disappointment there, but I think just year over year, it gets a little bit better every time, and people are pretty happy with that product. It will be brighter than its predecessor, so they definitely told us that. And some of these OLEDs are actually going to be 144 hertz with G-Sync compatibility, so it'll actually work. I've always said that the LG TVs really do have solid connectivity, so that's an exciting feature for those gamers. And of course, we just saw the transparent OLED on the way in. When we saw that at the booth, that was mind-blowing. Everybody thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the trippy scene with the fish floating with the background, I mean, it was pretty awesome. We all got a kick out of that. And then everything else here, as you can see, is just wild. I mean, We really don't have enough time to show everything at the LG setup here, but I think you guys can get the understanding that this is a wild spot to be. But I think we need to go down the hall to check out TCL because that's what's next on our list. So why don't you guys follow us over there?
Let's go.
Cool. It's cool to see that the NBA stars followed us back to TCL.
Yeah,
right?
really.
It's a little quieter here. We already were here at TCL once. We got to see Brian Bosworth from the NFL. They have their NFL partnership. Bo Jackson was here earlier too. But as you can see, here is the QD Mini LED TVs. These obviously look like they're 98-inch, Jen. What do you think?
Yeah, they look big. They look heavy.
They look big and heavy. Yeah, she's lifted a few 98-inch TVs, so she knows.
Yeah.
So this year, they're gonna have a couple different 98-inch TVs. And because I'm not 100% sure what the model numbers are, let's go over and check them out right here. So we actually have two different models right here. We have the QM7, which is gonna be probably a little bit less expensive than the QM8. So that's gonna be cool. Maybe a little bit more entry level, I guess you'd say, as a 98-inch. But that's really cool. I'm sure the price point will be really competitive. And on the other side, we have the QM8. And the QM8 this year is gonna have over 5,000 dimming zones, 5,000 nits, peak brightness, better processor, better upscaling, all the features that you'd want in a TV. So it's gonna be even cooler than last year's QM8. One of the coolest things that I was most interested in is actually finding out this year if they had an S5 in the smaller sizes, because they had the 98-inch, which we were really impressed with. But the S4 was a 60 hertz panel, where the S5 98-inch was a 120 hertz panel. So knowing that they're gonna have all the different sizes this year as the S5 is really cool. And here's proof right here that we have the 85-inch S5, and then next to it we have the 85-inch Q6, and it's interesting because these are very similar TVs, and I don't know which one's better. This one is a regular LED TV, and this one here is a QLED TV. Both of them in these sizes at 85-inch and larger will be 120 hertz, but then when you're 75, 65 and down, it's gonna be a 60 hertz panel, and this is gonna be a 120 hertz panel, so it's a little confusing. But basically they have a lot of great offerings for TVs from TCL this year, and they're gonna be budget friendly. And one thing I did fail to mention is the QM7 this year is mini LED, where last year it was called the Q7. It was not mini LED. So you got a lot of great huge TVs. I think that makes like 4 different 98-inch TVs right here, but we haven't even talked about the 115-inch that's on the other side, so let's go see that. And here it is, the 115-inch QM891G. I mean, isn't that easy to say, Jen?
Absolutely, just rolls off your tongue.
It rolls off your tongue. So cool enough, we ran into Linus Tech Tips, who had this TV before they even offered it here, and now we see it ourselves. And we saw this up in the suite as well. It had the double handles on each side, but really the important things to remember are that it has 20,000 plus dimming zones. It's over 5,000 nits of peak brightness. It's a 120 hertz panel, 6.2.2 audio, a really cool flagship mini LED from TCL, and this is definitely going to be our house in 2024, and it might remain champion of our wall forever. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
It'll be pretty exciting to see. Now, one thing that's missing on the back of this is there's no like backlight system, Jen, so as cool as the TV is, it might be able to get cooler. So who do we talk to for something like that?
I think we need to go to Govee.
Yeah, I think so. Let's get over there. And boom, just like that, we're in the Venetian here. And we're at Govee, which is obviously really cool lighting here. What do you think?
I think it looks amazing. I love the walkthrough that we did.
Yeah, so we're gonna take you guys on the walkthrough that we just did, starting with some of the outdoor lighting here. Christmas lights are not necessarily outdoor, but they have them outside, so we might as well talk about this. They have the new AIGC technology where you can actually speak into the tablet and tell the lighting system what to actually show. So we were like messing around with the sports teams that we like and had it show up like the Golden State Warriors and the Lakers. And then the Green Bay Packer one looked really cool, where it has the green and yellow colors. So, you know, if you're feeling a certain way for the holidays, you can have all these cool lights changed by the new app with the new ChatGPT-like system called the AIGC. I'm gonna try it. Let's do it. Okay. Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
hey, that's a
there
good
you
one.
go. Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's
all the Wisconsin
awesome.
people. There we go.
Yeah.
We'll have to see who wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We'll have
Thank
to see
you.
who makes it.
Yeah. Then we have this cool Govee curtain light too. which is really neat. I didn't know much about this, to be honest, but they have 3 different panels up here, and before it could only be 1 panel per adapter, but now this year they're able to have 3 panels on 1 adapter, and before you could only have up to 5 layers, and now you can have up to 10 layers. So they were telling us this grass layer is 1, then they have the house, and then the sky was another one, the trees, the stars, all these different things were layers. So now you can layer it on the app, you can connect 3 different panels on 1 adapter, something that would be really cool like on a garage.
Yeah, or if it's like your kid's birthday, you could say happy birthday and then announce it to the neighborhood.
Yeah, it'd be cool to have different signs on it as needed. So yeah, I like that a lot. Very
Really
interesting.
cool.
All this stuff outdoors would be cool. Man, I just wish I had the energy to like install it all.
Yeah.
But let's go inside and check out some more stuff. Now this is a product that we're kind of familiar with. We had the actual backlight T2. This is the actual T3 Pro. So this is actually using the camera on top to see what's on the screen and not only replicate what's going on, but it can also anticipate like lightning strikes and shoot the light out into different areas in your room, and you can connect a lot of these devices. So it's really neat. It can also predict sound and see and show explosions. So look at it, it's using the AI to explode and show different functions of the TV. It's really cool. And that Pro 3 is different from this SyncBox 2 because that is using the camera, whereas this is using the HDMI support. So you can plug all your HDMIs in here and output to the TV, which probably could be a little bit faster, and it actually has HDMI 2.1 and everything for gaming, so you get a good representation. But then, you can't actually use the operating system on this one. It won't react because that's not connected with HDMI. So then if you're gonna watch, like we do a lot of streaming and watching a lot of movies, and we use it on the actual OS. And I think the camera on that Pro 3 is actually better for us because otherwise we have to have everything sourced via HDMI. So there's just 2 really good options depending on which one you think you'd use. And what's cool here is these Hexagon Light Panel Ultra. I wanted to make sure I got the name was right. They have the ability to have lights in the inside and outside differently. So as you can see, this stuff is just wild. This comes in like a 10-pack. So these are already available and you can get these now, but these stuff like this is new here. The gaming wall light. Just so many cool things in this room to look at. One thing we talked about is that this HDMI box can actually react depending on what game you have. So if you're playing something like Fortnite and you lose, it'll like do a crazy screen at the end. Or if you're getting revived or reloaded, they have different crazy screens. So I imagine a lot of kids would like that. And the difference here is this gaming one is a smaller one for the monitor, whereas the TV one's a little bit larger. And that kind of happens with all their products. They have the big 98-inch Pro 3 and the smaller one, and so you can get the one that's appropriate for your size of TV or monitor. And then we had to pop into the little room here and see the Galaxy Light Projector Pro. They actually had like 5 of them set up on each wall, so each one can point in one direction and get a really cool response to have like the stars showing, or you can take out the discs and put a different one in if you want a different thing. I don't really know all the different discs, but I'm sure there's a lot of cool things that you can look at, and I could see it being a very cool kind of like night light. It's like the night light of 2024 versus
the
something
night sky.
Yeah, better than what we had when we were kids for sure.
Yeah.
But we need to go out and actually look at some of the technology for this stuff. It's kind of cool how they have stuff just to show you all the different technology involved. I think that's one of the things that's probably not appreciated enough is how much time and effort and technology is put in some of these products. So it's really cool to see that. And they have these outdoor lights. They show that you can really put these in water. They are waterproof for sure. I think they said that these ones have been sitting in this water for a week. And no problem at all. I know we've had some cheap generic stuff that gets weathered and isn't even usable after 6 months. So I think we get up to 50,000 hours with these outdoor lights, which is so much time. Definitely really cool to see. And lastly, they have a bunch of cool Govee Life products too. I think, Jen, we probably could use almost everything here.
Yeah.
Just so much cool smart technology, and honestly, this Govee booth, fantastic. So you should definitely check out all the Govee products. And now, since we're here in the Venetian, we stopped right by Awol Vision. Obviously, you guys have probably seen the videos that we've done with the 120-inch rise-up screen right here. We did the 150-inch screen, but this is pretty familiar looking, Jen.
Yeah.
It looks kind of cool. They have this new container, this actual floor unit that can house that 120-inch screen called the station here, and it has the projector in the front. I guess this is a little bit more cost effective for most people. So if you're putting this in a theater room, it just sits here and stays like this. It has kind of a matte finish, so it's not going to reflect a lot of light. You can put a center channel here, or it has the area for a sound bar. That's pretty neat. The wires can come through. This one doesn't slide back in, so this would just be how it's set up. But I think this is a really practical solution for this, because that 120-inch screen is really cool, but we were talking to other people like, what are you just going to set the projector on the floor? So here's the solution for that, where you don't have to actually set the projector on the floor. And I think if you had a seating area out here in a theater room or your living room, that would be an easy win right there. But they also have some really cool stuff I want to show you over here. This is actually an outdoor setup, so you can put your 3500 Pro inside a waterproof cage here, and then you have the outdoor screen that you can like hang from your awning, and it can pop down, throw up the projector. It's got some waterproof cabling and all this stuff, so that is pretty neat. And I think, you know, I know some people have those first world problems where they can have a setup like this, so definitely pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Let's look over here. So I don't integrate enough to always have, you know, the 2.35 by 1 type systems that I'm showing off. But it's pretty neat that you can adapt a couple of these projectors to get different formats if you have a different size theater screen. And they're hoping to get one of these projectors to be able to do different formats in the future here. So just something that's pretty cool. Currently there's 2 set up, merging into one screen that's got this ratio here, different from your 16 by 9. But you know, it's still pretty cool. I like that. It's awesome ideas. Always innovating. And then probably the coolest thing that I've seen here is that they actually have a new audio system to pair with their projectors. So they're the first company to make a dedicated system that can actually connect in the back with the eARC port to the wireless adapter that then sends signal wirelessly out to the entire 4 speaker setup and the subwoofer. So actually it's 5 speakers, and then it actually uses the projector as a center channel. So you get a total of a 5.1.2 system here with the fronts, the center channel on the actual projector, upward firing Dolby Atmos speakers, subwoofer, and 2 rear speakers. So really, you know, you get your entire setup through Awol Vision here. And I don't think this is gonna break the bank either. I think I'm actually gonna get the 2500 projector and these speakers, which would be a similar price to the 3500 Pro. So you can either get the 3500 Pro, which is awesome obviously, and your own dedicated system or whatever if you're rolling in the money, or if you wanted to get the actual 2500 and this system, it might be similarly priced. You can add in a bunch of speakers and the other unit for the price of the top selling unit. Either way, I think you're gonna love it, and you'll be able to watch awesome movies like this in 3D with Dolby Atmos sound now. Overall, we really like Awol Vision products. This has been a really cool partner that we've had. Love the 150-inch screen that's still in our house. And I like that they have the new ability to put that 120-inch pop-up screen in that cabinet, and hopefully we're going to get some more products from them in the future here, because we really like it.
They're amazing. They're so good.
Yeah, very nice people as well. So check out these links in the description if you're interested in Awol Vision, but I think it's time for us to get back to the Central Hall. And just like that, we're back at the Central Hall here. We're actually in Hisense in a secret private room. Not even the NBA basketball players could get back here. I'm kidding, they probably could. But we have the lineup here. We have the U6N, the U7N, the U8N. These are the new TVs for the 2024 lineup. Now, they're gonna be a little bit brighter than last year, so we're gonna have a TV in this room that's up to 3,000 nits, which is almost twice what it was last year. Again, the U6N is gonna be a 60 hertz panel, while the U7N and the U8N are both 144 hertz panels. All 3 of them are mini LED this year, which is cool.
And it comes with this cool new remote and backlit.
A backlit remote. That's a very premium remote for Hisense. We were talking about that. I think that's going to be a big upgrade, and people are going to be pretty stoked about that. And of course, on the end here, we still have the U8K 100-inch, which I haven't even seen yet, and I'm really excited to see this. It wasn't available as much in the United States because it sold out so quickly, but everybody asked me about it, and I can tell just from here, it's a pretty cool looking TV, but we have one that's even cooler out front. We'll talk about the 110-inch UX in a second. But the U8N here is probably gonna be one of the best LED TVs. I'm a big fan of this. We were huge fans of this last year when we saw the U8K, but I think people are really excited for the 110-inch UX, which I definitely need to have at the house this year. So let's go outside and check that out.
Let's go.
Oh, and look, we got the NBA stars cooking lunch for everybody. Isn't that cute? No, it's actually awesome that Hisense has that NBA partnership, so they have cool guys like this out here. I always see the Hisense commercials in the NBA, but let's get over to the UX. And here it is, the 110 UX. I actually like the way this one looks. We were talking about that earlier. That stand is amazing because it makes the TV look even better. but I think they're gonna actually have this one right here, the 110-inch in the US ready available, and that has 40,000 plus dimming zones on a mini LED that should be over 5,000 nits peak brightness. I think it's really cool. So cool that we got Linus Tech Tips right over here behind us, checking it out as well because it's that cool. But we see celebrities all over the place, the NBA stars, Linus. We talked to Digital Trends' Caleb Dennison, and it looks like Digital Trends gave them an award for the winner for innovations. So it's cool that it's winning awards already, but obviously everyone wants to see it in our house and how it performs and all that to know if they should actually buy it with their hard-earned money. But now we have to move that way because we have Samsung and Sony left, which is gonna take us a minute to get to, but let's go do it, Jen.
Let's go.
Okay, and now for Samsung, which is over there, but it's way too loud to just stand there because all the consumers are getting in there and getting wild with it. But we already saw all the Samsung stuff at the first look that they hosted on Sunday night, which was pretty cool.
Yes, it was.
And one of the things that we really liked was the new matte finish on the S95D, their top QD OLED this year. So when it's shiny and reflective in your typical living room, you're not gonna see any glare off of the TV, which can be a problem with OLED TVs, and everybody knows that. But in the dark, it's still an OLED and it still looks awesome. So it's gonna be something that people are gonna get used to, and Samsung said that if it takes off and people like that look on their top OLED TV, that they may transition to other models to have that in 2024 or 2025. And on the S85D, which is gonna be a new OLED, kind of a middle tier, I thought the back of this TV looked really cool. I might be the only TV reviewer that really cares about what the back of a TV looks like, but in all my installation years, I don't know if I've seen an OLED that has a back that pushes out like that looks so fine, Jen, except maybe yours.
Yeah.
Another thing at Samsung was the new 8K display. They actually have a really cool stand design that kind of reflects back at you, so it looks like it's just floating over the top of it. And the One Connect box sits very neatly in the back, like it did before, but it's even a little tighter than it was last year. And Samsung's boasting that the 8K processor this year is actually 8 times faster than the one last year. So it's going to be able to upscale content better, and I think people are starting to realize that there's not a ton of 8K content yet, so we need to upscale the content that we actually watch, like YouTube TV and Netflix and all that stuff, up to the higher resolution to make it look good on these 8K giant screens. They also had some cool sound bars that are definitely skinnier for Samsung. They looked a little bit more petite and kind of cool looking. However, they also have these speakers on the sides that look like they're picture frames, and then they can be used as speakers. So it's very cool that they're able to integrate all these different things. You can use the Samsung frame as a speaker, you can use the sound bar as a speaker, and you can use all of it as speakers. So it's kind of a cool way to set it up but make it still look cool. And of course, they had some micro LEDs on display, which are really awesome, and we would love to have one of those.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat.
I think they might be a little bit out of our price range still, but I got to see some of that technology behind the scenes, and I'm telling you, it is very complicated how they make these micro LED TVs. We're talking about parts on these micro LED TVs that are smaller than a grain of sand, millions of them. So the wiring and all that, I mean, I got to see some pretty cool stuff behind the scenes. So Samsung has some pretty cool things in 2024, but we need to go check out Sony, our last stop on this trip.
Let's go.
So I'm here at Sony and I lost Jen, but I was gonna look for some sports. Can you tell me where the 2024 TVs are? I don't know if they're gonna help. Actually, I'm just kidding, I found Jen. Let's talk about the 2024 Sony TVs. Now, they probably will have some really cool TVs, but I haven't seen many of them yet because Sony has been doing their own launch later in the spring, and that's what we were told this year when we went and saw some of the Sony reps talking about their new backlight technology, which was pretty cool, and I'm excited for the next generation of what would be the X95L or M or N or whatever the letter's gonna be next. But basically, more or less what they told us is that they have really good control over their lighting system. They are increasing dimming zones on mini LED this year, and they're gonna have better control of them in general, putting it up against some of the competition and showing us how the system works. And it's cool because they have the reference monitor sitting there that the professionals use to calibrate and get everything situated for the movies and then make the TVs look more like that. And Sony's philosophy is that it's not just about the dimming zones and the number and the brightness and all that, but matching what the creator intended. And they had the reference monitor there to show us how they've been doing this for years, and everyone knows that they're very accurate, very nice TVs. But this year, having an increased and improved dimming zone count and a better algorithm and all this technology, it's not just about preference or accuracy, it's about technology. And it's really cool to see in person with the screen cut to show the backlight system and how it compares to the competition. So look forward to seeing some really cool LED LCDs in 2024, and of course OLED TVs and all the other things that Sony has. But something that was really cool at the booth was that they had a car and they had some Sony cinema cameras and an entire micro LED wall that was showing footage, so you could actually sit in the car like you're on a show like The Mandalorian or Chicago Fire, like they do at Sony Pictures, and be filmed with a fake background that looks like you're driving the car down the road. So always cool things at Sony, just no TVs yet. So thanks for watching this video. Make sure to comment and let us know what else you guys want to see. We're here all week, and thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.